All right, hello and welcome. And this is IIM Ahmedabad, and this is the Ashank Desai Center for Leadership and Organizational Development. And once again, in this episode of Idea Speak with us, we have Mr. Kaushal Kishore. Kaushal, may I request you to give your own background and then we start with the conversation today?
Thank you, Piyush. I'm Kaushal Kishore with a professional services organization for the last 30 years. I've been an auditor for all my career. I've been a chartered accountant and worked with some of the large organizations and dealt with a lot of industries in this organization. Worked on various engagements, conflicts managements, advisors to clients on all of that. So I've been an accounting clerk all my life.
I like the way you articulate it. All right, so we have supremely rich experience with us today, and the Indian industry, Kishore, is very clearly in a stage of disruption, and we are seeing all kinds of signals coming in from the very good to the not so good. What do you think are the biggest leadership challenges for the Indian executive today?
I think the most important, working in a professional services organization, my first thing which I believe is the most important challenge every day is keeping my talent intact,
Right,
keeping my people with me.
right,
How they skilled, how do they deliver? Because that is my profession every day. So the professional services organization, when they have to deliver, they have to see that the people are at the right place and with the right skills, and that's the maximum which we need to do, and which we continue doing that. So that keeps me on toes all the time.
very well. No, absolutely. So, talent is one of the rarest and the bestest thing that can happen to the organization. So, how and what kind of strategies do you use to kind of retain talent in this age and era of huge employee turnover, attrition, and all the various issues? And we also have issues like moonlighting.
It's not a simple answer. So one is that keeping the talent intact with you and they don't get distracted. It's a major job. So keeping their skill sets, keeping them attracted in terms of the monetary part, keeping the new generation attached to what they're doing, and then making them skilled for the organization. That's a big thing for an organization like mine, or the professional services organization like ours. Every day we look for that kind of a talent, and how do we keep them attached to their business and the belongingness. So creating belongingness, creating that kind of an attachment, that's a daily job. It's a very subjective matter. It's not 2 plus 2.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of time and effort,
Right.
and the governance and the leadership skills in
Right.
this.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for that input, Kishore. But that leads me to my next question. So, in an era and in a time when consumption spreads so fast today, changes the way that the world today lives by, what do you think are the ways to kind of foster innovation, and how do you really stay ahead?
The kind of examples you provided, they're very technology driven. We, as a professional services organization, we are technology driven. Our first aim is to provide services to our clients. Some parts are creating trust with the public and the stakeholders. We always believe in that quality than the quantum part of it. All these examples are, I am a service consumer for them as well.
Right.
And in that sense, we always try and utilize the best technology in our services, and provide our services to the client. So I think there is a while these companies, they are the service providers, I am a consumer, and we try and utilize the best services from them as well and provide services to our clients. Our innovation is in many things and everything which we do in our services. So I think that's how I look at a professional services organization like ours, which is creating trust in the public and the stakeholders.
Interesting. So, coming back to the talent bit that you earlier on talked about, Kishore, and we are here at IIM Ahmedabad and at the Center for Leadership and Organization Development. We, of course, invest big time and engage ourselves in skilling, reskilling, upskilling, etc. And we also do realize that we increasingly being told that degrees have a limited shelf life, and executives all over and governments and states around the world are now investing in upskilling their citizens and reskilling their citizens. So, how do you really, at your organization, undertake leadership development?
Uh, See, as I said that in when we have to provide services to our clients, there are expectations from them, and they believe as an organization we can provide our best, and we should provide our best. We deal with the talent every day, and the skilling and the development part. This is a daily job. It's a day job for us, and without that, we are not in a position to provide a quality services to our clients. Very important that we keep ourselves on toes, keep the best talent, and in terms of the technology which they have to use and in everyday life, and providing new services which keep on coming. And we have multiple services within our practices like audit, tax, and advisory, and they require lots of things in terms of the technology, in terms of that kind of a talent to be used. So it's a daily job. We have focused understanding of those leadership talents. It's a process.
Right.
Leadership is not developed like that. It's a process which is subjective, which is feedback process. It's in connect with your people in that sense, and that's how you do it.
Right. So, of course, you come from a PSF organization, and thereby you need no introduction to that first principle and management ethos when they say what doesn't get measured doesn't get done. So, in terms of this leadership development interventions that you undertake, how do you really measure the impact?
It's a balance. So a lot of things measurable, a lot of things which are subjective, but the attitude that tells you, and the feedback that tells you. We deal with 14,000 clients, and that tells you who's doing what and who's at what level. So there are multiple ways to deal with this subjectivity, and we're not saying that everything is measurable. Somebody has a revenue of this much, or somebody has done these many engagements, or somebody has dealt with these many people. I think there are a lot of subjective things which get collated over a period of time, and then that's how we measure it.
Right. So I have this question which I want you to answer at two levels. Also, importantly, not only from your own organization's point of view, but also, let's say, from the point of view of so many client firms that you guys audit. So, diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? They've become the buzzwords of the times that we live in. How much of it, in terms of budgets, are you seeing on the books? As also in your own experience in your organization, how big a thing is diversity, equity, and inclusion?
First of all, from our point of view, diversity is nothing new or nothing fashionable from our point of view. We've seen this from a very long period of time. We never had any discrimination against anything or everybody. This name came in much later, but we've been practicing it. We've been practicing it. There was never a discrimination. The equal opportunities and the challenges thrown to everybody in so far as our organization is concerned. We've made it more conducive to say that okay, there are things which we need to learn. So, for example, if there is somebody as a disabled, we will have our facilities and the physical infrastructure to deal with that. We have many other things which are the preferences or your own orientation. We don't discriminate anything. So I think so far as we are concerned, it's been absolutely an equal playground for everybody from a very long period of time, and we just keep on investing things in this.
Yeah, which is great for your, as a professional services firm. I do understand, and you've been wizened to these new trends rather early in the day. But in terms of a very widespread of clients that you have, is it something that you find where it has kind of started seeping in, also in terms of its reflection on the books?
So, certainly, there are. When you say on the books, there is a focus. There is an amount of investment which gets into, because you start thinking about it very differently. Also, because you have to create an infrastructure and the kind of ecosystem for the entire
right
thing. And therefore, it becomes very important that you have a budget for this.
Right.
And I see it at the client's places also. It's exactly similar things. And look at the sustainability and the ESG requirements today. It's all a part of it. The largest of the companies in India, they have to follow this.
Right.
So whether by the trend, by their own governance, or by the regulation, all is getting together.
Very well. So ESG, sustainability. We're going to get there, but still, I have a few more things. Have you really ever noticed anything, or is it a narration which we get to see on the books ever in terms of a diversity, equity, inclusion, or is it like
Well,
something which.
we've been very equal, to my mind, very indifferent from that point of view, but we have invested that much because see, the nature is that don't discriminate,
Right.
and that's the basic agenda we have always followed.
But have you seen a shift in terms of the kind of groups that are today being included, which may not have been the case a couple of years earlier?
Something specific comes in, we always see that there is an equal platform.
Right. Very well. All right, moving on to what you just mentioned, sustainability. So, what is this huge thing around sustainability? Why is the world going mad? And is it for real? Is it only lip service? At the ground level, is it really being implemented, or is it a good thing to talk about in boardrooms?
One thing which is very positive, we started talking about it. Whether we started in 5 years' time or the last 7 years' time, we never realized that it's important
Right.
at an individual level.
Right.
But today, when you see the challenge, which is the real risk which is happening, it's necessary that we talk about it. And then I think the government is creating that conducive environment and the ecosystem that yes, it's necessary. So it's percolating down also, whether by regulation, whether by your own consciousness. And so it's necessary. I'm very positive that we've started talking about it, even if it is at a very initial level in the beginning, but it has to go on like this.
Right. But for some of your clients, are you guys also involved in doing this ESG reporting?
Of course. That's the basic job. I mean, in terms of assurance work that we do,
Right.
it's necessary that we get into those areas
Right.
and support the clients as well as the government. And just to add to that, we actually add to the public policy also in this area.
Right.
And we advise the governments and the regulators that these are the right things to do and these are the kind
Right.
of experiences we are getting in locally, internationally, and then we provide that input.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So tell me, is it for real only in terms of a mindset change at the top level, at the board level, or would you say that at real ground level in terms of middle management, senior middle management, also that issue of sustainability, such terms as carbon footprint and, whatever little activity that I'm doing in my department, it does add up to something where the consumers tomorrow may reject me, the investors may not like it, and it's something which I need to be doing over and above what the business demands for the larger cause of it. Is that sensitization also percolating down to the middle and junior management?
See, the tone at the top is very, very necessary.
Right.
Unless that sponsorship happens, it doesn't percolate down.
Right.
Is it necessary that it goes down to the last moment? The answer is yes. Without that, it's not going to happen. Top level will talk about it. They will invest money. If at the practical level it doesn't get implemented, that's a problem. Everybody has to be aligned to this.
Right.
So there's no question that the people down the line and at an individual level also.
Yeah.
That comes from within.
Absolutely.
That's how you deal with this. Otherwise, there's no question of practically and successfully dealing with this.
Right. All right, coming to that flavor of the moment, artificial intelligence. Everyone is talking about it over the last 6 months, it seems. I think Satya Nadella has said that it is a revolution as big as electricity and fire in the past, and steam engine for that matter. And very many organizations across the board in all kinds of places are today talking about adoption of artificial intelligence. So, amongst your clientele, are you witnessing some change? Is it already started reflecting in terms of on the books? And I mean, what is this thing and how is it percolating down in the industry?
I would say the initial usage is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
How it gets into your daily life, I mean, it is yet to happen to my mind, but it's happening. Some time back, we were talking about multiple things like blockchains, etc. They are not as much in discussion today.
Right.
And today, what we are using is AI,
Yeah.
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say is it's a responsible utilization. The accountability should remain with the users.
Right.
That's very important. It's like anything morally which you have to use in the right direction.
Right.
And therefore, AI is in that in that category.
Right.
So while the usage is important, the usage is phenomenal, and it's happening, and it's a great time saving and effectiveness and
Yeah,
efficient.
productivity wise,
It's
there is
very
no doubt.
productive,
Yeah.
but again, you have to utilize it in such a fashion which is an intelligent utilization and responsible utilization. So I think we are debating at this point in time, how do we use AI responsibly? That's the
Right.
most important thing.
And there is also this huge issue related to, ethical AI, responsible AI. Is regulation also something as an audit firm in this context of AI that you or your clients would care about at this
Of course,
stage?
we are working towards this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the agenda items, because in my organization, I would not like my employees to use AI and just copy and paste something and deliver it. It doesn't make any
Right.
sense.
Right.
One has to use it very responsibly.
Right.
So we are working towards that. The regulation has to come.
Yeah.
I mean, I heard Mr. Olsam,
Sam Altman, yeah.
Sam Altman, he came in and then we heard that, and this was one of the questions which were remaining pending.
Right. The man of the moment, of
Man of the
course.
moment.
All right. So I'm sure you guys are hiring a lot of our students as also, new Gen Z generations people from all over the place. So any challenges, leadership challenges when you're trying to manage them? What are the insights? How does one really go about navigating this new talent?
I think the quickness of the response. They want to be aware.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want an employee to be there. They want a family to be there.
Right.
I think that's the. So in the last some time, we have seen that we are not just engaging with an employee.
Mm-hmm.
We are engaging with a full family, and that emotional quotient, that immediate benefit, all those kind of things we're dealing with this.
Right.
So which has not been the case in my era. It was not.
Right.
We could have seen a long-term kind of perspective. Today, there's hardly anything which is long-term. It looks
Right.
like. I'm not
Right.
saying that we should not plan it. But
Right.
It's somebody sees it now.
Right.
So I think that's the wonderful challenge I would say to deal with.
Right. So you've been an industry veteran and you've of course worked across industries, even as the largest success and the latest deriving of identity, so to say, comes from the professional services firms that you've been working with. But tell us, Kishore, about your own personal leadership journey, the failures as also the successes. I'm sure it'll help our audience.
My personal, if you ask me, that very personal, I mean, acknowledge and correct.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how we move forward. So I don't have a long answer on this.
Mm-hmm.
Learn it. You had an experience. Acknowledge there was a mistake or there was a good thing, and you correct it, and go on.
Yes, and you are a professional services firm, so I'm sure you guys also deal with so many startups. And while startups have now gone on to become fashionable, we also know that 90% of them go on not to succeed. So, how does one deal with failure? As a young leader, how do I failure is so stigmatized in the society,
So no, I think there are challenges around. One is the space, the pace. But when you run, you need a break as well.
Absolutely.
You can't just go on like this.
Right.
So I think you run fast. There is a pace, but the governance and the controls, they
Right.
need to work simultaneously. You need to think a little long term on this.
Right.
So short term money without any controls, with no governance, and thinking towards that. And that's what I have learned.
Yep.
So
This
I
has
think
been
that's something which is.
This has been brilliant. So tell me, what is your vision for leadership for the modern age manager, aspiring leader? This is the age of digital on the one hand. We're being told the future is digital, the future is green, the future is care. So how does one really prep oneself up for this new age?
Focus, keep skilling yourself. It's a unlearning, relearning, and
Yeah.
that those are the kind of things. So it's not that there's no quick buck, there is no free lunch, but focus on this and then have your skill set on toes all the time. You keep learning of new things because you don't know what was relevant yesterday, which will remain relevant tomorrow. So that is the kind of time we are living in.
Yeah, very well. So personally, this has been enlightening for me, Kishore. I have to put it on record. Learning, unlearning, reskilling, skilling, acknowledge, correct. Nice. Simple, easy, powerful key buzzwords. Thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thank
Piyush.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks.